talk about the wide receiver position. Obviously, we've heard some names. Juju Smith-Schuster is a big name that's being attached to the 49ers. There's a lot of other receivers out there. Amari Cooper is available, and there's some other big name receivers out there. What are some? I personally like the receiving core, especially if Juwan Jennings comes back, but they do have to fill out the rest of that roster. Who are some wide receivers you can see being brought in? And as a guy like Juju, somebody that the 49ers could afford to bring in as well.
Yeah, so real quick before I get to the names that people might know, two under the radar names that the 49ers could definitely bring in to get for depth, and they've been tagged to in the past. That's Steelers receiver Ray McLeod, who the 49ers are expected to be interested in, and also Broncos receiver Deshaun Hamilton, who was cut earlier today, and the 49ers did express interest in him. I think they were looking to trade for him before he tore his ACL at the trade deadline this past season. So they could be looking to get interested, or they could look to get gain him to their receiver core, and he'd probably be fairly cheap coming off that torn ACL, and could be also on an incentive-based deal, meaning that they could probably cut him after training camp if he didn't respond well. But those are two fairly young options. But looking at some other options, some bigger name options, some guys that the 49ers could get are guys like a Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who's got that big-bodied frame, that 6'5" frame with the ability to run routes as well. So he's a guy who the 49ers could potentially get. Other guys might be a guy like James Washington from Pittsburgh, a guy kind of seen as a burner who the 49ers could get if they want that speed. There are a couple of the speed options as well. Damiere Byrd from Chicago, he's a free agent. If the 49ers are looking to get cheap options, he's another guy who could potentially get speed. Talking about the big names, when we look at it, we have Amari Cooper, we have Allen Robinson. Those are the two top guys kind of on the market alongside Juju Smith-Schuster. Do I think the 49ers kind of target either of those three players? Not necessarily. I think Cooper will definitely get some significant interest. And I do think he also could potentially get traded to a team like the Patriots or to a team like the Raiders prior to getting cut on that March 18th or March 20th date, whenever his contract becomes guaranteed. But if not, a guy like like you said, a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster, I do think that's enticing. He is also coming off injury, so his price tag might be a little lower. I do think that if he was to be signed, it'd probably be to a one-year deal where he could work well with Trey Lance. I wouldn't mind that, because last offseason I was also a proponent, or if we got Juju Smith-Schuster, I wouldn't mind that at all. And same thing this offseason. I think that he could be a very solid slot runner or slot receiver, and he's a solid route runner too. I think that's one of the better components of his game. And Kyle Shanahan in that receiver core kind of prioritizes that route running kind of build. Juju Smith-Schuster fits the build. I do think that he could definitely be a solid option. I just think he could be too expensive, given that the 49ers already have solid receiving options in Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, and then George Kittle obviously at tight end.